Yo, we back. Oh, I'm back. This is the Brown Recluse, the premier one-man podcast show, back again. You know what I'm saying? On this beautiful Friday, 15th. So, shout out to the government workers, because it's payday vibes for y'all. Also, shout out to the government workers that are coincidentally sick around every 15th of the month. I see the move. But, yeah, it's episode 16. The podcast has reached, the episode of consent in South Africa, which I didn't even know. I just always thought that the age of consent was 18, but turns out it's 16. And I actually learned this while we were recording last week's episode of the Brown Recluse Deluxe Edition. So shout out to Lou, Mavi, and Pixie for 20. We killed that shit again. Check out episode 2 of the Brown Recluse Deluxe Edition, the People's Pod, if you haven't yet. And do share because, we're dropping some facts and knowledge on that motherfucker. So go follow the Spectators Corner SoundCloud because we got more coming. Also, I'm going to ask you guys again, just hopefully you guys listen this time. If you can just drop some topics goddamn, these are like naughty bastard children that just don't want to listen, but you know what? You guys are my naughty bastard children. So I love y'all, but show love back and drop some topics, so the content can be as interesting and provide you with as much value as possible, you know what I mean? Because we can't just be talking about whatever bullshit, but we want to talk about what you want to hear about. So, like I said, drop some topics. But on the content tip, I've been, contemplating, and the more I contemplate about this, the more disgruntled I get with the way I have to put out my music and get my music to the world. Because I get that, okay, streaming makes it more accessible and all of that shit, but I feel personally that my music is worth more than a 0.0001 cents per stream or whatever it is. Because I personally feel that streaming is the worst thing that has happened to artists since not Netflix, since Napster, that's how I really feel about it. And it's not artists even need these platforms, because if you're talking about selling direct to consumer, Bandcamp has been there. And I'm sure way more about Bandcamp is the one that I know about. That's been there since before these streaming services became popular. And you could use that since back then to sell straight to your fans or whatever. Now, granted, Bandcamp does take a percentage, but I mean, if you want to get your music onto Apple, Spotify, or wherever, you have to pay a digital distribution service, which takes a cut anyway. Or they might not, depending. But just, because these megastars that were already so established were thrust in our face as successes of streaming, without mentioning that streaming only counts for a minuscule percentage of their income. In 2017, it was reported that Beyonce made $60-something million, but only almost $2 million came from streaming. And that's fucking Beyonce. But, like I said, that was sold. That was the dream that was sold to us, to artists that were hungry and were independent, to get us to sign up and whatever. But look, if it works for you, do your thing. But as for me, I'm looking for alternatives. So you might have seen the post or you might not have seen the post. But if you haven't, I'm just letting you know here that I did start a Patreon page. So basically Patreon works as kind of a subscription kind of thing where your fans pay an amount per month for access to your content that you put on Patreon. So yeah, basically I wanted to act as kind of a central hub for my content, so you don't have to go to SoundCloud and YouTube and wherever, man. You can just go there and I'll post the links there. And I also want to make some exclusive shit, exclusive outtakes and bloopers and demo songs and rap versions like additional podcasts, like reviews, older footage that I've never released yet, like projects and songs that's like from back in the day, and like a whole bunch of other shit, man, that you just can't get anywhere else. But I'm still working out like the different, like, because there's a thing called tiers. So each tier is a different, costs a different amount, and obviously gives access to different content or benefits. So like currently when I set it up, I just set it up quickly with like access, which is like kind of like it gives you access. Like I said, it's access, so it's access to everything that's already out there, but just in one place. So then yeah, that's like for $5. And then oh yeah, that also gives you like downloads. So if you want to download the podcast, you want to download the albums, even like, if you pay the $5 a month, you can have access to all of that good shit. Then the next tier would be archives for $10, which is everything in access, as well as like my old vintage throwback tracks, unreleased tracks from back in the day, which even extends to like visual footage of, me recording albums and making beats and shit like that. And then the third tier is JPCMV, which is currently listed as $20, which gives you everything from access and archives, as well as, demo tracks, rap versions, new tracks that aren't out yet, unreleased tracks, early access to new projects, and yeah, and like the extended podcast and the reviews that I mentioned earlier. But yeah, so to kind of like cultivate interest in the Patreon platform that I started, patreon.com/Jimi Priceless. Trying to add more value there. So in terms of like the archives tier, so like some of my older projects I'll just be removing from other sites. So that means Flux, Mercury, I'm fine, thanks for asking, Winsome, and I think I might take down single 16, 17 as well. So you know what I mean, that's just gonna be gone by the end of the year. So if you still want to get that shit for the free, go download it on jimipriceless.bandcamp.com. Yeah, because after that, that'll be part of like the archive benefits that you get when you sign up to Patreon. So yeah, but I'm still figuring out like the pricing, and what content I want to give, because like I'm running both my music and the podcast through there, man. So those are kind of different. Like a podcast is a regular thing, man, where album is maybe once every few months. So we're just trying to figure out appropriate pricing and appropriate benefits for each respective price. But yeah, I only put up one piece of content so far, which is a track called Chill, which is like my first song that I ever made to be like on a project, and that song's from 2011. So if you sign up for that $10 archive thing, you can, check that song out, stream, download it, whatever. But yeah, it might change by the time you actually visit the site after years, because I'm still experimenting and shit. Yeah, but also Patreon like shows exactly like how many patrons you have, which is kind of messy. Like, yeah, like I don't know if the public can see it, but I know like if I go to my profile while I'm logged in, it can show like 0 patrons, $0. So yeah, I hope those numbers will increase. But other than that, I dropped 2 videos so far from my 4 clips with format series. Dropping another one on Monday via YouTube, and then I'll put it up on my IGTV as well. So subscribe to Jimi Priceless on YouTube, and follow at Jimi Priceless on Insta. And then other than that, I've just been working on music. So I still got the pre-album project, and then the album itself in progress. So as far as the pre-album project, I still don't have an official title or cover art, but all the other shit is done basically on my end. I'm just waiting on the parts. I'm just waiting on the other parties involved to send their parts, so that once I have that, I can really start, finishing the project. And yes, that is a sub at, y'all know who you are. Send the verses, please. But yeah, because basically the beats are basically dependent on how many verses I can get for said beats. So yeah, I literally have to wait for everyone's verses before I can start like exporting stems, and then like mixing and doing all of that kind of shit. But onto the album. So I finished the beats, finished writing the songs. All I gotta do is record and then possibly do some rewrites. Like I already changed some like lyrics and this, and yeah. So I need to start recording that album. And then I was still like messing around with some release dates, like more or less the same. The months are kind of like I know when, but just the exact dates I'm still, not 100% decided on. But yeah, I'll get there. I'll get to that. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. And then on the topic of albums, I think I might as well just move into the music report. So last week there were 3 albums that dropped on that day, on Friday. And for the first time in a while, like all the albums that dropped on one day have all been like rap/hip-hop albums. So yeah, so the first album was Stally's Reflection of Self, The Heat Trip. And in case you don't know, Stally was the other guy with a beard that was signed to MMG back in the day. But I really fucked with his style, so I followed his career like since then up until now. But yeah, this 9-track album is produced by Jansport J, top to bottom. He produced for like Snoop, Ab-Soul, Ty Dolla $ign. So yeah, on this project specifically, his production style is very, hip hop, sample chop style, and then like a lot of the beats do have like instrumental switch ups before they like fade out. And with some tracks, there is like vocal sample snippets, that kind of gives insight into the track concept. And then others, the beat just switches and the song kind of fades out. So, which I thought was interesting. So, and then as for Stally, his usual combination of, easy flows, insightful lyrics, solid punchlines scattered in between. And as the title of the album suggests, there's a lot of talk about, reflection and self-reflection. And that is kind of like the overarching theme of the album. The only credited feature is Kenneth Wallum, who I never heard of. But yeah, my favorite track would be Also New, which was the first single I heard of the album. So yeah, you can check that out if you're interested. And then the second project that dropped was All Sweatshirts Feet of Clay. I didn't even mention this on the previous podcast episode because I didn't even know it was going to drop. I think he only announced it like the day before. So yeah, this is All Sweatshirt Feet of Clay. The 7-track EP, total runtime of like 25 minutes, I think. And I'm a fan of All Sweatshirt. Like, he has a dope voice delivery. Like, he's just a dope rapper, man. So, like, I'm able to tolerate like these kind of like beats, which I'm not a fan of. Like, these kind of lo-fi abstract shit. Like, I'd like to hear him on beats that sound like actual music, but it was a cool little drop, especially seeing that he's such a like kind of low, like not very active, in general. But so it was dope to see him drop this less than a full year after, his previous project. But yeah, so the album features Mavi, not Lou Mavi though, but other Mavi and Mac Army, who both did their thing. Production was handled mostly by Earl himself, excluding there was one beat made by Overcast, which is the track that features Mavi. And then one beat he produced with Mac Army, which is also the track which features Mac Army. And then the other track, which is my favorite track, was produced by The Alchemist. Then moving on to the third project was, West Side Gun's Hitler Wears Hermes 7. I did say it's going to drop the 31st. So, but it dropped Friday, because I guess Friday is like the release day. So my bad if you were looking out for it and waiting for it on the 31st. I was too. And yeah, this is my favorite of the 3 projects that, that dropped. This might also be my second favorite Hitler Wears Hermes project. Because my favorite is still Hitler 5, but this is a close second. And this is also the second longest Hitler Wears Hermes with 16 tracks, running for about 43 minutes. Production comes from the Derringer, of course, CC, King Ivy B, Denny LaFleur, Diamante, August Fanon, Static Selector, Green Lantern, Animos, Shadow Gold, Alchemist, Junior Swift, and MA, with features from DJ Drama on the intro. You get verses from Estee Nack, Fat Joe, Conway, of course, Benny, of course, Jay Worthy, Boldy James, Currency, and Keisha Plum, once again back with the poetry, doing the outro. I think my favorite track of this for now, because like I'm still like enjoying this album, but for now my favorite is It's Possible, which features a dope sample by Piero Piccioni, which is he's an Italian composer. I think he does like movie scores and like that. I'm not sure if he specialized in it, but I know that sample is from an album. I think it's from a soundtrack to a movie called, and I might be very wrong with this, but it's something along the lines of Il Dio sotto la pelle, something like that. Like I know it's some kind of Italian erotica movie, because I know another movie along the same line, Camille 2000. Like he does the soundtrack for that as well, and it's like similar kind of sounding music. Like it's dope to sample, because I remember I downloaded that album because Tyler the Creator spoke about it in an interview in like 2014 or some shit. So yeah, it was dope to see that album, pop back up in like years later. So but yeah, anyway, Hitler was Hermes 7 dope album. So yeah, that was the past week's albums. So let's get into the upcoming albums. Okay. So first up, we'll have Doja Cat's album called Hot Pink, her second album. She announced that it's dropping the 7th, which would be yesterday when you hear this. But like with West Side Gun, because Fridays are like the industry standard nowadays, it might just drop Friday, like today. But nevertheless, it'll be out by the time you hear this. So yeah, Doja Cat, Hot Pink. Only 3 guest spots. One being Shmino, one being Tiger on the track Juicy, which is like one of the album singles, I think. And then there's a surprise guest who was like blurred out on the track list. So yeah, I'm interested to see who it is. Then the 12th of November, we'll finally get another project from Tonight, which is a collaborative producer duo made up of Hudson Mohawk and Lunas. So Tonight, the first EP that dropped, I probably think in 2013, like that will be like, there's one track on there that basically sounds like Kanye's Blood on the Leaves, like, and there's another beat which basically, like, there's a Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj track, and they basically use that same beat, but like whoever produced it said it sampled that beat, but it was actually basically the same beat. But yeah, they kind of, the electronic trap kind of vibes, or they were, I don't know how this one's gonna sound. So yeah, you can check that out too. I think there is a single out, I'm not sure of the name, but you can just Google Tonight, TNGHT, and I'm sure you'll find it. And then for the 15th of November, there are 3 albums scheduled to drop. So the first one is Everybody's Everything, which is a posthumous release by Lil Peep. Kind of more of a compilation, because it's made up of like some new tracks, some shit that has been like probably leaked, some songs that have been released already, like Switchblades, which is one of my favorites I see is going to be on. So it's going to be, dope to at least hear, hopefully like a properly mixed and mastered version of those songs. Then the second album dropping that day is La Linda by Taishi. This is her second album, some indie pop vibes, because, that's the wave I'm on. So I'll definitely be looking forward to it. Blood Orange is the only guest feature on it. So if you're into that kind of shit, check it out. And then the third album, or mixtape or project or whatever, is gonna be Chixtape 5 by Tory Lanez. You know what I mean? All the Tory Lanez fans know Chixtape is him on his, his old school R&B sample shit. And like, I can't wait for it. It's based solely off of the snippets of the flip he did, or the sample he did of T-Pain's I'm Sprung, like that snippet alone goes hard. So I definitely can't wait to hear that official, fully mixed and mastered song. So yeah, let me see. So yeah, there's 5 projects that I'm gonna check out before the next Brown Recluse like solo edition. And then just moving on to the movie segment. I only checked out 2 movies. Yeah, and it's like one is not entirely new. It's called Good Boys. It's like a rated R comedy. It's basically about these like 12-year-old kids, or they're about 12. Like I think they're in 6th grade or some shit like that. But yeah, basically they got to get the one friend's drone back, and the story like just follows the crazy journey trying to get this fucking drone. Seth Rogen is one of the producers, so you can like kind of put together what kind of uh, what kind of humor is in this movie. Like that shit is wild in the motherfucker. But I thought it was funny as shit. So if you're into that, that dirty comedies, check it out. Then the other movie I watched was Dolomite Is My Name, starring Eddie Murphy. He was also one of the producers for the movie. And then it also stars Keegan Michael Key, Mike Epps, Craig Robertson, Titus Burgess, Devine Joy Randolph, and Wesley Snipes. With cameos from Snoop Dogg, T.I. Dope fucking movie. Definitely recommend. It's based on the life, or not the whole life, but a period in the life of comedian Rudy Ray Moore, where he developed this Dolomite character, and used it to like put himself on the map. And I really fucked with this movie. Eddie Murphy killed it. And it really resonated with me, man. And I think it will with many artists or creatives, because it's really kind of inspirational, man, just to see like that, the way Rudy Ray Moore like bet on himself and said, "Fuck what everyone else is doing. Fuck what normies. I'ma do my own thing, and yeah, I'ma just kill shit." And it was very dope, man, because there's, especially for like one of the parts that stick out is where like these producers are like, "Why do you want to make this kind of movies for only 5 blocks of people?" And then he's like, in every neighborhood or in every city, there's those same 5 blocks of people. And so he just like stuck to his guns and, cultivated his own fan base and his own cult following around what he's doing, instead of trying to switch it up and trying to expand or whatever. Like he just let the people come to him. So that was like really, really dope, man. Yeah. Then, just on the topic of movies, there's one movie I gotta mention. Not because it's new, but just because, you know what I'm saying? It's Guy Fawkes, or it was Guy Fawkes when you hear this. So, gotta mention V for Vendetta, one of my all-time favorites. Check that movie out; it's really dope. Um, Also, yeah, like I watched it so many times. Like I know, like the Guy Fawkes like rhyme, like by heart. Like it's like, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. Uh, I see no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot, or some shit like that. But bars. Um, but yeah, dope movie, V for Vendetta. Like that's, I might just watch it again just because I mentioned it here. But on that note, like, why is it? Because like Halloween was also like recently. Why is it that people are like so kind of anti Halloween because it's an American tradition, but like we celebrate Guy Fawkes when that's like it revolves a day, around a revolutionary plot in England. You know what I'm saying? Like, why we don't fuck with Halloween, but we fuck with Guy Fawkes? Like, that makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? But speaking of England, I just gotta say, shout out and salute to the Springboks, for washing them in that final, not gonna lie. I wasn't confident they could win, I thought they'd make it to the final, but I didn't think they're gonna win. Uh, but yeah, I actually watched it from like the 21st, 22nd minute in. I started watching it. And like I said, I'm not a rugby fan. But like when they got that first try, like I was feeling the vibe, I was invested in that shit, you know what I'm saying? And then, when Colby came through with a second try, in the 75th minute, I was like, oh yes. I was like, I was like really into it. But yeah, we're now finally the world's best at something. You know what I mean? And I mean, we already like up there like for like corruption and rape and shit. But I mean like something you can get a trophy for. You know what I mean? I'm glad to know we now, you know, good at something we can get a trophy for. You know, so shout out to the Springboks. You know what I'm saying? But like, who else? You know who else also deserves a trophy for their accomplishments? Me, bitch. For being the number one podcaster in this motherfucker. The Brown Recluse. You know what I'm saying? The dopest, consistent audio visual content out. Like, the deluxe edition doesn't even have video, but the audio is dope enough to body all these other podcasts. Boom, I said it. So yeah, man. Share the shit. Share the dope shit. There's enough to go around for everybody. But yeah, you guys know what it is. It's the Brown Recluse. Episode 16. So I'll be back. I'll be back in 2 weeks with episode 17. And then I'll be back next week with episode 3 of the deluxe edition. And like the deluxe edition, we already have back-to-back classics. So we're gonna hit the 3-peat with the next episode. So be sure to check that out. And like yeah, so by the time you hear this, there's still enough time for you to, you know, drop comments. Not comments, but fuck it, drop comments too. We appreciate them. But drop topics as to what you want to hear us talk about, because you know we got three of the greatest minds in the podcast game right now. So if you want to hear our thoughts, our opinions, our hot takes, then drop the topics. You know what I'm saying? Also, oh yeah. Speaking about dropping comments, so basically, boom. Like I started doing this last month, I think, but I'm doing it again this month. I loaded another voucher on Google Play Store. Just a little 150. So if you have like music on Play Store, preferably like albums and EPs, preferably bodies of work, then also drop those in the comments so I can purchase that shit, because like I stated at the beginning of this podcast, I just don't fuck with streaming at all. I actually want to purchase, and make sure you actually get like real money and not like a percentage of 1 cent per stream. I actually want to give you like a, what I'm saying? Like actual money. So if you have a project out with it, preferably, like I said, a project, EP or album. But if it's a single, fuck it, drop the single. Yeah, drop it in the comments, and then I'll purchase it. I'll listen to it. Probably won't review it because I might. You never know. If it's good enough, I'll review it. I'll give it a mention. So yeah, that's it for this week. I'll be back in 2 weeks. This has been episode 16 of the Premier One Man Podcast, hosted by Jimi Priceless. You know what I'm saying? AKA the Thunderous Lover. You know what I'm saying? AKA, you already know, Big Daddy Sexy. I'm out.